Well, welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody has had a great day so far. It is the afternoon now, both on the East and West Coasts. We just crossed the noon hour on the West Coast. So I hope everybody's having a great day. Quick housekeeping note before we get going. If you haven't yet had a chance to edit your profile and make sure that your company name is filled out in the headline area, please do that. Your profile can be found at the upper right-hand portion of your screen. You'll see your initials or picture if you uploaded your picture. Click that, and when you see Edit Profile, you'll see a place for headline. Make sure that your company name is in your headline. That'll help everybody interact during the event and make sure that when you visit supplier booths, people will know who you are and will help all the interactions. So without any further ado, let me introduce my special guests that I have here today. I am thrilled to have the next few minutes talking to ASI Vice Chairman Matthew Cohn and his sister, Corporate Vice President of ASI, Stephanie Cohn Schaeffer, about running ASI, a family-owned business for nearly 60 years. Welcome to the both of you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Andy. Great to be here. Thanks so much. It's great to see all the activity in the booths and in the sessions and the chat. The chat's been going crazy, so it's been lots of fun to see that, and lots of great activity in the booths and good education. So thanks so much for all the work you and your team have done to put this together.
The action has been great, and the activity on the show floor has been fantastic. So it's good to see the energy out there. The energy has just been really awesome to see, and I know exhibitors and distributors are excited to interact. So let's get into our topic of conversation today. What we're talking about is family businesses. We have so many companies in this industry that are run by families, that are owned by families and managed by families, and that defines ASI as well. While my name is close to your name, I am not a family member, so I do get it a lot, but I'm not. You guys are. So I'm going to ask you the questions, and you guys will be the experts.
Wait, if my dad was on this panel with you, Andy, right now, he would say, that's because we couldn't afford the E. You have the E in Cohen, and we're just Cohn, C-O-H-N.
Right. I would beg to differ about the affording, but okay, we'll go with that.
Also, Andy, does your family not know you're a member of the family? Because I think you have a family.
I have a family, just not the ASI owned family, shall we say.
Okay, well, we'll see.
So, Matthew, let me start with you. What's it been like managing a family business during what has obviously been a once-in-a-century crisis that we've all, been enduring over the last year?
Oh, gosh. It's been, certainly, like for many of our members, it's been a challenging last 12 months. I remember we were in Fort Worth at the Fort Worth show about a year ago today. People were worried about supply chain from China, and it's all about how to get product from China. And suddenly what went from a supply problem became a huge demand problem as the economy shifted and things around the world really changed. But I think in some ways, from a family business perspective, it hasn't changed that much in that we always think about the long term. My dad and Stephanie and I and others in our family, always talk about the fact that someday our grandkids will be involved, someday our kids will be involved. In fact, most of my dad's grandkids have been interns at ASI. And so in some ways, the long-term focus is unshifting. In other ways, of course, it's been a huge change. A lot of last year has been spent on thinking about how do we keep employees safe. We sent everybody home on March, whatever it was, 13th, and tried to then figure out how do we support all of our customers in that change? How do we produce new content in the editorial department and every other area of ASI to help our clients shift and grow their own businesses and shift to PPE products? How do we keep people informed on PPP loans and other things like that? And so I would say the rate of change in the past year has been unlike anything we've ever seen. And then it's about, how do we do the best job we can, supporting the industry, helping to think about how we need to do things differently. And a lot of times when these crises happen, they also help people focus on, certainly help ASI focus on, where are the areas we're adding the most value, and let's invest more in those areas. And where are the areas that actually we're adding less value than we need to be, and how do we either change that or stop those things? So it's been a lot of also thinking about, what do we stop doing what we were doing before because the economics don't make sense anymore, and where do we need to spend more to help people shift even faster?
Sure.
That's sort of a quick summary, but Steph probably has a better answer than me.
Always, but I do think that one of the biggest changes is just physically not being together. I think my parents have been in Florida and they have been isolating in quarantine voluntarily and literally don't leave the apartment. I think that's been really hard. So we shifted and have done a lot of virtual get-togethers as a family. So, we have done, even yesterday was Matthew's birthday, so happy belated birthday.
Happy birthday.
I brought my hat, Steph. Good news. I still have it here from our video call yesterday. We had a video call last night, and it was on my birthday hat.
But we have been.
I'm a month-long birthday celebration kind of person, so this is day 2 of my month-long celebration. Anyway, sorry, step back to you.
We always do celebrate normally at the Fort Worth show, so that we normally go out to dinner because it's often, around your birthday. And, I think that that's really been the hardest thing for us as a family, is really that we're all not physically in the same place. I don't think that I have physically seen any of my siblings or, obviously my parents in nearly a year, but we have tried and become very disciplined about having weekly video chats and things having nothing to do with the business, really kind of strengthening the family ties, because I think that's important in a family business, that you have to have family ties that are very strong as well as good business communication.
Well, speaking of communication, I actually think, Steph, you bring up another important issue related to the business, which I think in this crisis that we've been in this last year, the importance of communications is even more than ever. So I would say we've had more meetings with employees than ever. Tim, our CEO, who's been doing a remarkable job keeping people informed, has done more to engage with the industry and with employees. My dad has been doing one-on-one calls with every single employee. So we literally start and we just call each person and have a chat, and he just checks in with them, see how they're doing. We really worry about everybody's both physical health and mental health as well, because it's a challenging time. And so engaging that way. We've done a whole bunch of virtual events for anniversary people within our company who are celebrating anniversaries. We normally used to do an anniversary lunch at the office, and now we do an anniversary happy hour, and we do that celebration. But I would say it's really, as I think about it, one of the most important things we've done as a family business, or as a business in general, in this past year has been to be much more purposeful and intentional with communications, to make sure that everybody is aware of what's going on, that we are transparent, and that people feel like they have a connection and they know who to talk to. Because it's different than when you're walking in the hall or seeing somebody day to day. It's very different than in this case where you're only seeing someone via video and it's hard to know what's going on exactly. And even then, on video, what's going on behind the scenes, what's not being said. So I'd say it's incredibly important to be very intentional with communications.
And Stephanie, what else has ASI had to do to adjust to the crisis and the current economic situation at hand?
It's been a tough year. It's been a tough year for us. It's been a tough year for our customers. I think that one of the unique things about our industry, we are mostly all family businesses, but we're very entrepreneurial, and so I think that both suppliers and distributors were able to take a moment, take a breath, kind of say, okay, where do I make up, some of the lost revenue, and what changes do I need to make? And I think for us, our employees are our most important asset. We love our employees, we love the business, and I think we had to make some hard decisions last year because we have to look long term. So, we had to furlough employees. We hate doing that. We about probably, I'd guess, 30% of our employees were somehow impacted, whether they had salaries reduced, whether they were furloughed or terminated, unfortunately. And we had to make those hard choices. But one of the things about our family is that we're not just making choices for other people. I think that we decided that we've got to lead by example. And so Matthew and I, we took a 50% sales cut, and it's 50% cut in our salaries. And we thought it was really important that if our own employees were having to be impacted, we too were going to be impacted. And I think that is important in.
I lost Steph. Yep. Now she's back.
Okay.
Yeah, you came back.
Okay. So I don't know where you lost me, or
I think we heard everything you said except for the very last sentence, Steph, which is probably, my brother's much smarter than I am.
No, that wasn't what I said. But
yes, that wasn't it. But
I do think that that's really something that we had a hard time with. We hate to have any of our employees be impacted, and I do also think one of the benefits that both ASI and also many of our suppliers and distributors was the PPP loans. I think, Andy, you might even know that answer. maybe 50 or 60% of our customers.
Yeah, 2/3, 66%. Market research showed.
That they had some ability to get PPP loan. Well, that was, very beneficial for everybody. And, I think it's helping people rebound and helping people kind of sustain. And I think for us, we look at the business and we look about long term, and we're going to be here. Our kids are going to be here, hopefully working with the supplier and distributors' kids, in future generations.
Absolutely. And as we're discussing family businesses here to the audience, if you have any questions for Matthew and Stephanie, throw them into the stage chat and we'll get to as many as we can during our short session. But Stephanie, as you talk about this sort of longevity, how do you guys think that family businesses will be changed moving forward? What sort of expectations do you have for how family businesses might operate differently on the other side of this when things maybe start to get back to normal, hopefully sometime soon?
Well, I sort of think I rewind the clock because I think about, what we did before this all started. And, we've been pretty disciplined as a family for the last 20 years where we actually have organized quarterly family meetings. And so whether my siblings are in the business or not in the business, we have a quarterly meeting with an outside consultant who has helped us. And that really is, we have a formal agenda, and it's really to be able to talk about the tough issues, the easy issues, just things having to do with the business. And I think by having a formalized meeting, that it makes it so when we do have really hard things, we already are in the habit of having communication. So now you go forward, and I think, how will that be? I don't actually think that there'll be long-standing changes as a result of COVID. I do think we'll have a return to the in-person meetings. We had our fourth generation. We normally do a meeting with them in person. We had a weekend call during this because we thought it was important to be able to have the next generation hear from Tim Andrews about what was happening, and that was really beneficial for all of us. And Matt, I don't know if you have any thoughts.
I agree with your comments. I think certainly in terms of how important those meetings have been and just the regular communication within the family and thinking about the connectivity of the family to the business and what we can do to support the business, all those elements are incredibly important. And I think in some ways, Andy, those things have not changed at all pre or post COVID. I think the reality is that for a family to be successful in a business together, they need to figure out ways to be family when it's time to be family. Because we have family that aren't involved in the business and they still are involved in our birthday celebrations and high holidays and other events we do as family, and also have business activities where we can all take our hats off, and I can forget about the fact that Stephanie was always more spoiled than I was, and my dad used to like her more, but not anymore.
He still does like her more.
All that stuff.
Now, we promised I wouldn't have to play referee here.
But we have to remember that we have those dynamics that we need to break free of at times, because as family members, we need to work together as colleagues in the business. And that's hard. And I think certainly, I don't want to kid myself or kid anybody else, it's hard for our coworkers as well. Somebody to say no to Stephanie or me is not always the easiest thing they have to do, even though we actually want them to, right? We want them to be honest with us and tell us, no, that's a really dumb idea. Let's not do that. But it's hard for someone to do that because they know our last name is Cohn. And I know, Andy, you use this as you forget the E sometimes and pronounce your name wrong, and people get confused about you too.
Undoubtedly. Well, Matthew, you talked about the importance of communications earlier. What other tips can you offer our audience, as we said, many of whom run family businesses, on how to successfully manage a family business, not just today, but at any time?
I think, part of it is, for me, recognize that the business isn't right for everybody. So, again, there are people in our family who aren't choosing to be in the business, and that's fine. And I talk to people in family business all the time who have family members that aren't a good fit for the business. And so I think recognizing that and making sure that those people are equals in the family is incredibly important. And then also, it's a little further back where I said a moment ago, I think the toughest thing for me as a family member has been to try to make sure that I don't over-bias any discussions or conversations by using my family influence. And I think, for business to be successful, employees need to know that they are incredibly important to the success of the company, and they clearly are, and that they have the opportunity to make decisions, even when it might be a decision I might not agree with or whatever it may be. And I think we need to celebrate those actions where employees make good things happen, contrary to what I would have done. And that happens, all the time, because look, nobody's perfect, not even Stephanie, even though she thinks she might be, she's not. And so it's okay for us to recognize and celebrate the fact that a coworker of ours is really making good things happen by doing different than what we thought was going to happen. And that's great.
I know.
Okay, Steph, you get the last word, Steph. So, so what tips do you have?
I think one important thing, and it goes along with what Matthew was saying about the family business isn't right for everyone in your family, is I think it's really important if for those of you distributors and suppliers with kids who might be of age soon to get into your business, is to have them work elsewhere first. My dad had a philosophy that we shouldn't come work at ASI until we had worked elsewhere. And I was a supplier. I worked for actually a supplier who's no longer in the business, but I learned a lot. And I think it's really important. My dad felt that you often people hate their first job. And so why have them come to ASI, have us come and hate our first job? And you bring a lot more experience in. I do think it's important for people to, encourage your kids to help out unpaid, like we all did as interns and kind of helping sort catalogs or whatever it is that they can do and learn about the business and love the business, but that their first real job should not be for you. It should be elsewhere and they should learn from somebody else. And possibly in the industry, there's suppliers and distributors who might be willing to, hire each other's kids. You can learn from that, and that gives you perspective from your customer or your vendor standpoint. And I think, really the most important thing about any family business is good communication and honesty. I love my brother, I love my parents, I love my siblings, and we're so lucky to work together, but it doesn't mean we don't disagree. And so, I like my dad ends things, hug your family, and we do that virtually or not. And, we really look forward to many, many future generations working together in this industry.
That's awesome. Well, thank you both for your information and insights and wisdom here. This has been a great session on family business, and I know our audience appreciates it. So thank you guys for joining us. And I understand you're going to take part in our networking time for a little while between 4 and 5 o'clock today. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be there. I'm also going to be
there. My dad will be there too. So 4 to 5 o'clock. Join the one-on-one networking, and hopefully I'll get to see you. And, if I don't see you there, I'll see you in Chicago this summer in July at the ASI show. We're very excited about that in person. Yay. But I'll look forward to the one-on-one networking 4 to 5 o'clock today.
Also, and I have been spending time at the ASI booth. And so if anybody wants to stop by, periodically Matthew is there as well. And if we're there at the same time, happy to chat with you there, but I will also be at the networking. So.
Excellent. Thank you both. That networking is between 4 and 5, and it's in the networking button on the left side of your screen. We will be back on this stage just before 4 o'clock for happy hour and a great session that one of my friends from ASI will be doing, showing a specific drink that one could make tonight. So everybody have a good rest of the show. Head back out onto the expo floor and make sure to interact with and get to as many supplier booths as possible. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
And all those times are Eastern, by the way. So, of course, convert to your local time. Sorry if I said 4 o'clock. That, of course, is 1 o'clock West Coast, etc. But I'll see you one-on-one networking.